bottom of the NES is pretty nondescript. You don't see much of it. Well, I mean, if you do, you're probably not using your NES properly. Anyway, other than being a darker gray than the rest of the machine, the bottom of the NES contains a secret compartment with an even secreter expansion port. On newer models, the port is covered with a plastic tab and the top loader doesn't even have one at all. Kids everywhere had their predictions and stories about that mysterious port. The most popular rumor being that someone's cousin 5 provinces over could play Master System games. I have also heard that it was used to keep the board firmly attached to a workbench during repairs. Even though the Japanese disk system connected the Famicom via the cartridge slot, there is some evidence that it was to be used for a disk system on the NES. But Japanese pirates couldn't resist those rewritable disks, so the add-on was cancelled for the rest of the world. Oh, come on, this thing on the bottom of my NES must do something. Sadly, no, it doesn't do anything, but not for any lack of trying. A modem was developed by Teleplay that would have fit snugly in there. It allowed you to call up your friend's console and play 2-player games together. And yes, I did just ambiguously say console because on this device you could play against your friend on their NES or their Genesis. Which is pretty amazing considering we still don't have cross-platform multiplayer capability in games today. Unfortunately, the Teleplay modem never left the prototype phase. After approaching both Nintendo and Sega with a prototype of their hardware, they failed to secure a license with either company. And it was hardly a coincidence that Sega later announced a partnership with AT&T and PF Magic to produce the Edge 16 modem. Yeah, that never happened. And that's the end of that story. But wait, there's more! Even before the ill-fated Telegame modem, the expansion port was almost used again. This time Nintendo itself partnered up with none other than the Minnesota Lottery. There were actually plans to use the Nintendo as a gambling device. Any adult who wished to gamble with a D-pad would have to pay a $10 monthly subscription, adorn their NES with a modem, and insert the unique lottery cartridge. Then they could play scratch card-like games and buy tickets. Despite a daily spending limit, a photo ID required to register for the service, and a password system, this program was quietly abandoned as politicians decried the use of a children's toy for gambling. Alright, so Nintendo had expansion ports on the bottom of each console until the Wii came along. A USB port can do the work of 3 expansion ports. There was perhaps one other object that was as mysterious and created as much fervor as the NES expansion port. This. Found deep within the Battle.net chat room in Diablo 2, the chat gem conspicuously activates and deactivates each time it is clicked. While players speculated on the truth of the mysterious gem, Blizzard remained aloof on the matter. Most people assumed it must be better to have the gem activated, and even better to have it moo, or perfect activated. Some enthusiastic gem clickers collected stats on games they played with and without the gem activated. Others just clicked it hundreds of times before each game in order to perfect activate it. Blizzard has released at least 3 statements on the gem. On an older version of the Battle.net website, they explain that while they cannot reveal the functionality of the gem, it has exceeded expectations. This didn't satisfy a lot of fans, who had wasted a lot of time clicking on that gem. So in the 6th issue of Blizzard Insider, Bill Roper definitively declares that sometimes a gem is just a gem. Some people still didn't get it, so the new FAQ for Diablo 2 multiplayer just states exactly what the gem does. It activates. Of course, this still confuses people. So while most Diablo 2 fans now know that the gem does nothing except activate, the question still pops up on forums every once in a while. And that's enough mystery solved for you today. Happy gaming!